So is that your like introduction? Okay. I think the background is great.
Okay. So I think the Writing Center really affects kids because they're not only just learning about English and how to like make their essay the best they can, but they're also learning skills of how to be a better student. At the Writing Center, all the tutors are either juniors or seniors, and I feel like our experiences, what we experience, we try to help freshmen. Like things I would have liked to know when I was a freshman, now we show that to underclassmen, freshmen, and sophomores. There's a lot to come involved with it. Not only that you're a tutor and you're just helping them, you really create bonds with these people, and like you create bonds with the kids, and you really see where they're coming from, and you become closer to them. It makes me feel better that one of my talents, like one of my strongest suits, I can help people who maybe need a little bit more help in it, and it's not as easy for them to write an essay or to, you know, even write a title to their essay. You know, it's just really helpful, and I really see the benefits of it, and you just have the satisfaction, this inner satisfaction in you that you really help these kids out. And maybe one day they'll go the same and they'll come back and they will be the ones, you know, tutoring other kids to help them because they saw how helped, you know, themselves. That's what it was for me. My sophomore year, I remember I was struggling a lot for my AP Euro class, but I went to the Writing Center and they really helped me a lot, my DQs, my essays, and that's what made me pass the class, what made me pass the exam, and because of that, that's why I wanted to return and give it back to them. So I think the Writing Center is very, very beneficial, not just for the students, but the tutors as well.
I like that you have sort of like that sandwich so that one paragraph isn't like vastly different from another. And so I would say that's a strong suit. While some of these are used to amplify savagery and violence, they're also used to emphasize both members of the family, creating a sense of bittersweet. And so this one, this sentence here feels like you're sort of summarizing everything you said before. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a transition, even though it does close out the sentence like very neatly, like sort of like a bow. However, it does function as that.
The center is beneficial to students because you can get help with writing from other students, your peers, instead of a teacher. A teacher can seem intimidating at first because they're a teacher, obviously, and an adult. But if you get help from your friends, from people your age and your grade, it can actually be beneficial and you're more likely to do better in time.
So I think the Writing Center is especially helpful because it allows students to meet with their peers, and in class students might seem intimidated to actually talk to the teachers. So when they come to the Writing Center, it's a much friendlier environment and they're not scared to actually ask for help or tell the student or the tutor what's wrong with the writing.
This is sort of like how they always tell you to restate your thesis. You can imagine that this sentence is almost sort of like your thesis, and you're gonna restate some parts of it in order to transition into your next paragraph and make it sort of uniform, if that makes any sense. So
I want this paragraph to kind of like slide and it's like, oh, not only this, but like this too.
Like something really smooth and really, I guess, pleasant to the reader.
Yeah.
So you can say something along the lines of like, in the same way similes amplify savagery and violence, they also have the potential to amplify ambivalencies. And so that would create sort of like a parallel structure within your essay, not necessarily like parallel in the traditional sense, but more of there's a uniformity to the way that you're composing your pieces and the phrases that you use. So that might benefit you, like right here.
Like the first sentence?
Replacing that first sentence, yes.
right? I joined because I just enjoy helping people, and I felt that if I was able to teach another student how to write or how to improve their writing, I would also better my own abilities.
So, the Writing Center really helps people. It helps students because it provides like a comfortable environment for students to come in with their writing and feel like they can have help from other students without the pressure of another teacher.
Learn to be you and do not let negative people get to you, because at the end of the day, it's your life, your choices.
Okay. Again, I think like
Bring it back to
yeah.
basics.
So what were you trying to do in that paragraph? Was it like your
And that was just like my thoughts, and I was just like letting go anyway.
okay? I don't know if like your teacher would want that because like
It's out of the ordinary.
yeah, and it is like an essay, and like you kind of have to keep your own like values and thoughts away from it and really stick to like your supporting argument, whatever the facts are, so that it's not so subjective, because then you kind of weaken your argument.
I'm just writing it as I know it, because
But if you want to include that part, you can always like find the facts that will fit that.
no, that was just like me, and I was just
Okay.
like, I don't even know what else to put.
Okay.
So then this would be the. This is just good. That's why I probably put that.
Insert hook. I have no idea how to flow into this. Like, this one's a very violent, terrible scene, and I know I'll go from like bittersweetness to murder. That's very.
I mean, because the way that you've analyzed the simile here, you're juxtaposing death with like this reunion scene, which like you would think is like happy and stuff, and so you can probably use that to your to your advantage in order to transition into such a violent scene.
How would I do that?
Do you feel like this is almost foreshadowing this? Because you can take it from that angle. So you can possibly allude to the previous paragraph in which you're sort of describing like this death that's sort of how it's undermining that entire scene, and how that eventually leads into the slaughter of, I think her name's Penelope?
Penelope Suitors.
Penelope Suitors.
Yes. Bittersweetness goes wrong.
And so not only would that great flow, but it's sort of like a mini motif within your essay, in that you're constantly mentioning like death and despair despite like the happiness of the moments. So that's nice and complex, and it's impressive.